Good evening. Welcome to the City Council meeting of January 3rd, 2018. Can we have the roll call, please?
Dan Carey.
Present.
Peg Coniff. Here. Salem Derby.
Present.
Omar Gomez.
Here.
J.P. Kwasinski.
Here.
Joe McCoy.
Here.
Tom Peak.
Here.
Dan Rist.
Here.
Owen Zarek.
In attendance.
Can we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. We do have some catch-up work to do. City Clerk will now swear in Councilor Derby, who was unable to make the reorganizational meeting.
Raise your right hand. I state your name, do solemnly swear
I, Salem Derby, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge and perform all duties
discharge and perform all duties
incumbent upon me
incumbent upon me
as Precinct 4 District City Councilor
as Precinct 4 District City Councilor
according to the best of my knowledge and abilities,
according to the best of my knowledge and abilities,
agreeably to the rules and regulations
agreeably to the rules and regulations
of the Constitution of the United States of America,
of the Constitution of the United States of America,
the laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
the laws of the Commonwealth of
and the
Massachusetts,
city of Easthampton,
and the city of Easthampton.
so help me God.
So help me God. Thank
Thank
you.
And at the reorganizational meeting, Salem was also voted Vice President. So another oath. I say your name.
I, Salem Derby,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge and perform the duties of City Council Vice President
discharge and perform the duties of City Council Vice President
in accordance with the Constitution of the United States of America,
in accordance with the Constitution of the United States of America,
the laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
the laws of the Commonwealth of
and
Massachusetts,
the city of Easthampton,
and the city of
to the
Easthampton,
best of my knowledge and ability.
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
So help me God.
So help me God. Thank you.
So we're going to skip over 4 because I see we do have maybe some people here for public speak time. So I'd like to now go to. I'm sorry, I skipped 3. So I'll entertain a motion for the approval of minutes of December 20th.
So moved. Second.
Okay, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions?
3 no abstentions.
3 no abstentions. Okay.
3
and-
abstentions.
3 abstentions, yeah. Okay, and no no's, so motion still passes. I'm going to skip 4 until a little bit later. Public speak time. Is there anyone here from the public who'd like to address the council? Please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Weinberger, and I live at 359 Main Street, Unit 11B in Easthampton. And I am a member of the Western Massachusetts Medicare for All Committee, the Easthampton Hub. We are a pretty large group encompassing many towns in Western Massachusetts that are working on trying to pass a Medicare for All bill in Massachusetts, to have Massachusetts be the first state to have Medicare for All, since many of us right now are pretty worried about what's going to be happening with our health insurance. And so we've been together since September, and we're having our first official event on Saturday, January 13th from 3 to 5 p.m. We're showing a film called Fix It, which is about healthcare at the tipping point, and it explains Medicare for All. And following the film's 40 minutes long. Following the film, we're going to have a Q&A and a discussion and see how Easthampton wants to proceed. With many cities and towns now are asking their city councils to pass resolutions in support of Medicare for All. We're not there yet. We're just starting by getting to know our community and having our community learn about who we are and what we do. So I just have these flyers, and you can pass those out. I'd appreciate it. I hope to see you there. There's going to be free popcorn and cider as well.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public who would like to address the council? Please just state your name and address, please. Thank you.
My name is Eli Gaiman. I live at 14 Ward Avenue. My comment is in regard to City Solicitor John Fitzgibbon's letter to City Council President Joseph McCoy dated February 22nd, as well as the ensuing correspondence between John Fitzgibbon and attorney Bill Newman, which are dated April 25th, 2017 and May 11th, 2017. And this is about the Safe Easthampton ordinance, which was proposed by petition about a year ago. The city solicitor's opinion does not make a lot of sense to me or many other people, including a number of attorneys. Basically, he said that the city council does not have the authority through the city charter to set a policy by which the executive branch acts. At least that's my understanding from reading the correspondence. And the city solicitor, I don't think was able to distinguish what was different about, why his opinion applied to this proposed ordinance and not to any of the other policies that the city council has, is responsible for. And my concern is not just for the Safe Easthampton ordinance. My real concern is that this really makes, if this opinion is allowed to stand, it means that it is totally unclear what the responsibilities and duties of the city council and the executive branch are, and it creates a situation where the city government can act arbitrarily and arbitrarily refuse to act and cite one thing or another depending on what they want to do. And so I think this really needs to resolve. I think you should either ask for another, reject the city solicitor's opinion, look for a second opinion, or look into totally rewriting the charter to clarify this issue, because I think we just can't have this situation where it's not clear what the duties and responsibility and authorities of the city council and the executive branch are. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Eli. You probably know that because you've been here enough. Because it's not on the agenda, we can't deliberate, we can't talk to you about what's on it. But just to let you know, this topic is still in subcommittee. It's in the rules and regulation. We decided to wait until a new mayor was sworn in, so this will be something that will be discussed, so we can certainly, review the city solicitor's report in light of your interpretation of the charter and the responsibilities and how they're outlined. But I just wanted to make sure you know that it is still on the city council agenda. It's being looked at.
I understand. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Is there anyone else here from the public who'd like to address the council? Please feel free to come up. State your name, address.
Good evening. Fran Root, 153 Hendrick Street in Easthampton. Bear with me because I wrote this before I read the paper this morning, so then I had to edit it a little bit. Okay. I see you brought the big guns from Boston and Washington here yesterday for your ceremonies yesterday, which was nice. I don't know whether I qualify as one of those old settlers. I've been here for over 75 years, but and I certainly would have no problem welcoming new people. In fact, I even built this street, Apple Tree Lane, to welcome new people to our community. So I certainly don't want that guy down in Washington speaking for me until he explains to me how he gets a $750,000 pension because he served one term as a city councilor. But that's neither here nor there. What I want to talk to you tonight about a little bit of history. Then there was one. I presented you with your first citizen's petition way back in your infancy as a city, when only one of you were councilors. And I wish to read my statement then. Probably still pertinent. Hi, by now most of you fellow townspeople in Easthampton must know that I am Francis Root of Hendrick Street, and I was the originator of the petition to City Council to rescind the town meeting vote regarding zoning in the southern section of town. We are now faced with a city referendum vote on this issue on April 3rd, and I wish to help explain the issue to you as well as I can. First and foremost, I must repeat that to believe that a yes vote is best, one must believe that for 1 or 2 or 22 building lots, I would jeopardize the water for Tyler, Dylan, Keith, Kaylee, Mark, Kevin, and Kyle, my own grandchildren. And guys, that ain't gonna happen. And then I presented the petition. My statement that night follows. I attended your zoning board of appeals meeting 2 weeks ago, and I needed no more persuasion to convince me to present this petition to the council. When rules are made that make 94%, and I repeated that figure, it's pretty important, 94% of our residents non-compliant at best and lawbreakers at worst, then if we do not at least address those regulations, we are destined to have citizens who are both lackadaisical about and uncomfortable with rules, regulations, laws, and ordinances. I've lived in this community almost 60 years, and I will not accept the presumption that I would in any conceivable way do anything to harm our most precious resource, the water in the Barnes Aquifer. My children live here, my grandkids live here. Do not underestimate my love and concern for them. They will be here using that water long after I have reached the place where water is not a necessity. Just because I got here first does not give me an inalienable right to the resources we share, and that is exactly why government must be of laws and not of men, and why I repeat my first statement that laws must be subjected to the scrutiny of man. And that 94%, that was with a 15% restriction on impervious material over the recharge area for the Barnes Aquifer. And as I understand it, that has been dropped to 10%, which is, my word, be confiscatory. There's no way that you can enforce that one. I don't know how that got in there. I was proud of the council and planning board for their research and votes in that petition. But then the referendum action and all of its deceit and misinformation took over. Away went Lot B, Grandpa Root's home site. So much for preserving your property. I built my first house on a half acre on Gramps Farm in 1962. Taxes, $288. Plus $6 for water for the first year. Built my present house in 1985. Taxes and water this year, $6,000. Now you're planning to raise that a couple $1,000s to build yet another school. I remember 3 that you built. I hope I can speak for most of your constituents that are genuinely on Social Security, that you are coming close to taxing us out of our ability to pay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Root, as always. Is there anyone else here from the public who'd like to address the council about any topic? Okay, not seeing any. So for the new councils, items 7 and 8 are any kind of communications. And I think, as Councilor Hayes mentioned, we sometimes now, for in the future, give this opportunity if there's something in your district or in the town or the city you want to mention or notification you want to give us as to get an opportunity to do that in the future. But that, unless anyone has anything to say, Councilor Derby?
Well, I was just going to reiterate the information that we were given on the screening of the Fix It movie, which is Saturday, January 13th from 3 to 5 at the Black Box Theater at the Easthampton Media Studio at Eastworks. Just wanted to make sure everybody knew when and where.
Okay, terrific. Mayor Communications, our new Mayor LaChapelle.
Good evening, everyone, and congratulations on being sworn in. I'm very much looking forward to working with you over the next couple of years. Communications tonight are short and sweet, but one piece came to my attention actually yesterday, day one. It is a letter from the IRS that is dated December 20th, 2017, and it concerns tax year 2015, where the city was assessed a fine of $551,893.29. So we're talking just a little over $500,000 that was assessed as it relates to our employer share responsibility payment, which is our health insurance. So we had some folks and employees who were not offered health insurance in the right subsection, and the fine started to toll in 2015, and on December 20th, we got this letter with the fine. That was my reaction. The IRS called Personnel Director Kane back today, and we have filed an appeal of such fine, and it appears that the employees affected were not in the employ of the city, and within 30 days, we should get a letter back from the IRS absolving the city from this fine. But I wanted to bring it forward.
That's real money.
Yeah. More dramatic than I wanted this to be. But I did want to make the council aware, and we'll be giving updates as this proceeds. But we, the finance director, myself, personnel director, feel pretty confident that we'll be okay with that, and that's going on there. The other thing I would just reiterate was actually the movie, and also I perhaps might scoot out for a little bit of the meeting because I want to drop into the work group around superintendent search. But we'll come back. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're now at the reports of standing committees. For the public who is here, this is our first meeting, and in this first meeting after the election, we have to reorganize into our subcommittees, elect chairs and secretaries. So we're going to, actually not actually disbanding, our part of our meeting now, we will actually disperse amongst you in different places and reorganize, and then we'll come back and do the standing committee reports because we'll need to know who the chairs are for each subcommittee. So at this point, if we could separate the groups, as I said before, probably what makes more sense if finance, which is Risk, Kozinski, and Carey, and ordinance, Derby, Zaret, and Conniff could meet first. And then after they're done, the remaining committee, public safety, which is Derby, Gomez, Carey, appointments, don't be due, it's already been done. Property, Zaret, Kozinski, and Peak, and rules of government relations, Risk, McCoy, and Peak.
I think I got that impression. Thanks a lot. All right, thank you.
Yep, got it right here. They're not ready right now, are they?
Tuesday meeting at 6 with the school building committee, which was six. What is that? 6? 6, and it's right here.
So basically, everyone's done.
I'm chair.
CPA?
Yes.
You're gonna, okay.
And I'm chair and,
Yeah, well, you're gonna announce it anyway.
what do you do, rules, or you want to do, what do we do?
I was just going to order. Let me see. So if we have rules, it's you, me, and Tom.
Okay?
do rules. You want me to stay as chair? Because you can't as president.
Second. Need a second. Need it seconded. Okay, I made the motion. Aye.
I would suggest
Aye.
Yeah, because Barbara Simon submitted by others, and you can see how they don't have to totally usually the actions taken, if we take it, we'll even get the debate around it. I would also do it.
Okay.
Yeah. We don't have a meeting yet, I gotta wait and talk to Joe about it, we have two things to deal with, being rules and this petition, so I don't know.
And,
I want to meet for that.
So it's not, this isn't.
No, it's pretty.
Yeah, Chair, Owens Clark.
All right, so we need to meet properly.
I'm the chair.
You chair of ordinance?
No.
Oh, I thought you were.
Joshing.
Can't wait to have to deal with competition.
Petition. For that? No, it's, that's the one he talked about. He was referencing 15 years ago.
Not Tom. The guy came up and talked about the attorney. Remember the petition
I
we
think
got?
he's absolutely right.
No, I don't. The city attorney's right.
What?
The city attorney's correct.
But what he said,
So he's saying the city attorney's wrong, and I'm sorry, but I disagree.
but there's 9 of us, and I kind of agree.
Okay.
I give you such a hard time.
But the city attorney's been the city attorney for years and has been a city attorney for many communities and knows how to do the charter. And I would doubt that he just did it just because he didn't agree with the petition. I don't recall exactly the language in the letter, but the letter referenced regarding police action, not specifically all ordinances. And
That
what we
the
could do.
department reports to the executive branch, and therefore only the executive branch has the power to change how
Because
they do
that's
their job.
directing.
And that I agree.
Well, that's what he's saying, in the sense that that's operational, not regarding an ordinance where they have to enforce an ordinance.
It may not be explicit in the city charter.
I think it is the operation of the police, in other words, how they do their functions is in the executive branch.
Right.
If you write an ordinance that says they will enforce chickens, they have to do it, they have to enforce it. How they enforce it. If we write an ordinance that says immigrants shall have they can enforce that with regard to standard laws of discrimination. What I think is requested is operational police action, helping.
Specificity.
Specificity of helping us. We can't tell them what to do.
Yeah.
The other thing about it all, to me, is we are on the air, so maybe we should. He might be shut off because he's leaving.
We're not done.
We have a meeting to finish. Bob, are you here for something? Just visiting?
Northampton has closed their schools.
Well, the superintendent's right behind us. Maybe we should ask them if they're closing the schools.
Okay.
Northampton? Hey, Salem, you don't have to work tomorrow, just found out.
Northampton just closed school.
So that means Alex has no school either.
Where does Smith follow?
Yeah, they follow Northampton. Yeah. Smith College campus.
Another ban announced?
My dad's a Smith professor. I mean, up till first grade.
Oh, still.
For like preschool.
Do you remember who you had
That
for
has
kindergarten
made
by
all
any
the
chance?
We're only supposed to get 3 to 5, but it seems like
Was it
more now. How much? 4 to 7?
maybe, but there's
6 to 10 now.
turnover in the other
What time is it supposed to end? Afternoon, right?
For like
That's cool. I mean, such a good school.
You're kidding. We may be canceling our opening night tomorrow.
It's just such a good school. It's just like,
It is. School building committee? Okay, thank you.
Okay, we can begin again then. So we'll start with reports of standing committees. So as part of your report tonight, the chair, if you could just announce, what the results of your election were. So Finance, Councilor Rist.
Mr. President, thank you. I was elected chair. Thank you to the committee, and the clerk shall be Councilor Carey. On other business, we have a meeting scheduled with the school building committee to discuss the debt exclusion special election and information regarding the construction of a new school. That meeting will be held on Tuesday, January 9th at 5 p.m., either in these chambers or behind us in the conference room. That to be decided. There's a lot of people, so I'm hoping we move it. Second meeting, always scheduled on the Wednesday between January 10th at 5 p.m. I'm going to keep that meeting, councilors, so that we could vote on the debt exclusion that evening. We don't have anything else on our agenda. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, Public Safety, Councilor Carey.
Public Safety Chair is myself, and the clerk is Councilor Gomez. We're going to keep the regular standing meetings the first Tuesday of the month at 6 p.m. So that first regular meeting will be Tuesday, February 6th at 6 p.m. There's 3 items on our agenda. One has a public hearing set for the next full council meeting, and that's the request to review section 124, the no parking Pleasant Green East and Arlington Street section of Pleasant Street. That is already set for public hearing, and that wording's available, but we are going to have a site visit this Saturday at 10 a.m. to make sure the new Public Safety Committee and anyone who wants to come up to speed on that before the public hearing can see exactly what we're dealing with. And that concludes.
Where will people meet? Like if they did want to attend, where would you guys assemble?
Right at between Pleasant Green East and Arlington Street.
Okay, right there.
Yeah, it's a small section.
Right, okay. And that concludes?
It does.
Okay. Appointments, Councilor Coniff.
Thank you, Mr. President. So our committee reorged this evening before the City Council. I was elected as the chair. Joe McCoy was elected as the clerk. Our typical meeting time will be Wednesdays at 5:30 before City Council meetings. We do not have a meeting, however, in 2 weeks, but that will be the typical time. We did have business as we met earlier today, and we had 2 mayoral appointments to consider. First one was Francis Perrier for the Veterans Council with a term expiration of December 31st, 2020. The second was Jared Olinsky for Zoning Board of Appeals, December 31st, 2020 is the expiration. Both of these nominations were approved 3-0 for 4, and I now bring them forward to the City Council for their consideration. So I will make a motion to approve Francis Perrier, Veterans Council, and Jared Olinsky to the Zoning Board of Appeals with a term expiration for both of December 31st, 2020.
Second.
Okay, a motion, a second to accept the appointments of Francis Perrier to Veterans Council and Jared Olinsky to ZBA. Additional questions or comments? Great job. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion passes.
And thus concludes. Thank you.
Okay, ordinance, Councilor Derby.
Thank you, Mr. President. So we have been busy, and we will be busy, and we have new members. I was fortunate enough to be renominated for chair of ordinance, and Councilor Zaret is going to be the clerk. and we are very happy to have Councilor Coniff with us. So, a couple of things, housekeeping. I would like to set a public hearing for January 17th in these chambers at 6 p.m. for the request to consider an ordinance restricting the single-use plastic bags. If the clerk can get in tomorrow to post it. If she can't, then we will push that to the following meeting. I know it's a strange
So that was.
Motion.
And it was the 17th?
17th.
Okay, so there's a motion for a
Second.
public, motion a second to have the public hearing for the single-use plastic bags on January 17th, 6:15 PM in these chambers. Again, it may change if the city clerk isn't able to post it tomorrow, but is there a second? All those in favor?
Just wanted to mention, just a point of information for those who may be listening in the future, wondering why the clerk might not get in. We are expecting a huge snowstorm, and it may be treacherous, and that's why we may not have the meeting. It's not the urgency or importance of the matter.
Right. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion passes.
And just a note on that, that we do have wording that the clerk has if anybody's interested in seeing.
Everybody has it.
And everybody does have it. Anybody from the public would like to see it. Next, we have a request to review zoning ordinance keeping of chickens. And that, since it's a zoning ordinance, we need to work with the planning board. So I would like to request that the council send that issue to the ordinance subcommittee and the planning board together as a bit of housekeeping. So that is a form of a motion.
Second.
Okay, a motion to move the amended changes to keep it chickens to, it's already in ordinance, but also to planning board, the amendment, the changes. Any additional questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion passes.
Just a little information on that. When we do have a zoning request, it has to go to both the ordinance subcommittee and the planning board, where we both have together a joint public hearing, and then they render an opinion, comes back to the ordinance subcommittee, and we give our recommendation to the full council. So that's going to be the process there. And then finally, I'd like to let people know that we are going to be having a meeting 1 week from tonight at 6 p.m. The only item that will be on our agenda is the recreational marijuana draft ordinance. We have received information from the planning board, so this will be a chance for us to catch up and have information. The 10th.
January 10th.
Oh, yeah. And that we potentially are going to be having a public hearing with the planning board on the draft recreational marijuana ordinance on February 20th. So that would be in line with what I said before, that we would have a joint public hearing together.
Okay. Councilor Rist?
I'm wondering, as all of our ordinances in the past have gone through our city attorney, if this has happened. I'm concerned only because this is rather extensive, deals with our city businesses, and I want to make sure that it follows the laws of the state and proper enforcement, et cetera. And I'm just asking if you would please run it by the city attorney before the public hearing.
Sure.
If that would be appropriate, Mr. President.
No, I think it should be checked.
Okay,
Sure.
thank you.
Okay.
That concludes.
Okay, thank you. Property, Councilor Kwasinski.
The property committee met with Councilor Zaret and Councilor Peak and myself. I was elected chair of the property committee, and Councilor Peak was elected clerk. Thank you so much.
Okay. Rules and Government Relations, Councilor Rist.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. We met, Councilors Peak and you, Mr. President, are on the committee. I was elected chair. And for those who don't know, Councilor McCoy, being president, can't chair a committee. I would have gladly have let him do it, but can't do it. And Councilor Peak was elected clerk. The Rules of Government Relations has one item, the Community Coalition petition, which we will get to very quickly. However, I would like to set that at the next full council meeting once I talk to our committee members. Also, at this time, I'd like to move the proposed changes to council rules, which I submitted which are under new business, to rules of government relations for further review in the form of a motion.
Second.
Okay, a motion, a second, to send to Rules and Regulations, proposal council to council rules, proposed by Council Rist. Additional questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. President. That concludes.
Okay, and we have no old business. We took care of new business, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion passes. We will see you January 17th. Thank you very much.
Welcome to the council, guys. You don't have to.